War is unforgiving to the inexperienced. On the battlefield, being a rookie usually means one thing: you don't survive long. Yet history sometimes breaks its own rules. On a cold afternoon, under a sky choked with smoke and fear, 3 German Tiger tanks rolled forward with absolute confidence. These were not ordinary machines. They were monsters of steel, feared, respected, almost mythological. Entire units had collapsed at the sound of their engines alone. And standing in their path was one rookie soldier. No medals, no legendary reputation, no backup. Just 12 minutes, a battlefield soaked in tension, and a decision that would turn him into a name whispered long after. The guns fell silent. This is the story of how the deadliest tanks of World War II met a rookie who refused to die. To understand how impossible this moment was, you must first understand the enemy. The Tiger I tank was Germany's armored nightmare weapon, with frontal armor so thick that most Allied shells bounced off harmlessly, and an 88mm cannon capable of destroying enemy armor from over a mile away. It dominated open ground like a steel god. 1 Tiger tank could stop an entire advance. 2 could break a line. 3 moving together meant annihilation. Veteran crews manned these machines, calm, calculated, ruthless. When those 3 Tigers began their advance, they weren't hunting tanks. They were cleaning the battlefield. And the rookie knew it. The rookie had arrived only weeks earlier. He hadn't even been properly tested in combat yet. His uniform was still stiff. His hands still shook under pressure. Older soldiers barely remembered his name. He wasn't meant to be here. His assignment was simple: observe, report, survive. But war does not care about assignments. As explosions rocked the ground and communication lines collapsed, the rookie found himself alone, cut off from command, staring through smoke at the unmistakable silhouettes of 3 Tigers approaching his position. Retreat was impossible. Reinforcements were gone. Radio silence screamed louder than artillery. This was the moment when most soldiers break. But something else happened instead. Time slowed. The rookie's fear didn't disappear, and it transformed. He remembered his training. Every warning, every weakness the instructors drilled into them late at night. Tiger tanks were powerful, but not invincible. They had blind spots. They had limits. And most importantly, they relied on confidence. If that confidence cracked even for seconds, the battlefield could flip. The rookie checked what he had left: a limited number of anti-tank weapons, damaged terrain, smoke, and one thing the Tigers didn't expect: resistance. The battlefield wasn't open ground. It was uneven, broken, scarred by previous bombardments. Shallow trenches, craters, destroyed vehicles, and a maze of death. Tiger tanks were terrifying on open fields. But here, their size worked against them. The rookie positioned himself carefully, crawling through debris, using smoke and fire to mask his movement. He wasn't trying to destroy all 3 at once. He was trying to confuse them. The first Tiger rolled forward confidently. The rookie waited. Not for bravery, not for courage, for precision. He aimed not at the armor, but at a vulnerable side angle, where the tank's protection thinned just enough to matter. The shot rang out. A violent explosion ripped into the side of the tank. It didn't explode immediately, but it stopped. Tracks shredded. Crew panicked. Smoke poured from the engine compartment. For the first time that day, a Tiger tank wasn't advancing. It was bleeding. The other 2 Tigers halted. This wasn't supposed to happen. They scanned the area, rotating turrets, firing blindly into smoke and ruins. Their commanders shouted orders, unsure where the attack had come from. And that hesitation, that brief moment of uncertainty, was everything the rookie needed. He moved again, relocated, repositioned, invisible. The Tigers fired, but fear had entered their machines. The rookie knew he couldn't repeat the same attack. Predictability meant death. Instead, he waited until the second Tiger attempted to flank and exposing its rear while maneuvering around the disabled tank. That was the mistake. The rookie attacked from close range. The explosion was catastrophic. Flames erupted. Ammunition cooked off. The turret jerked violently before going still. 2 Tigers down. The battlefield went silent, except for fire. The last Tiger remained. Its commander understood now. This wasn't random fire. This was intentional, skilled resistance. The tank advanced slowly, deliberately, firing at anything that moved. The rookie felt the ground shake with every step. This was no longer about tactics alone. It was about nerve. One mistake would end everything. The rookie waited until the tank committed to a narrow approach, forced by terrain. Then he struck, aiming at the weakest possible point. The blast tore through the armor. The Tiger burned. When the smoke cleared, 3 Tiger tanks lay silent, destroyed, disabled, defeated, by a soldier no one expected to survive. The rookie sat motionless, shaking, barely believing what he had done. He hadn't just stopped an advance. He had rewritten the rules. When Allied forces returned, they didn't believe it. 3 Tigers, 1 man, but the wreckage told the truth. The rookie was no longer invisible. His story spread, not as propaganda, but as proof that knowledge, courage, and timing could defeat even the most feared weapons of war. Most soldiers freeze in the face of overwhelming firepower, but not him. As the first Tiger tank went down, a strange clarity hit him. His fear didn't vanish, it transformed into hyper-focus. Every heartbeat, every breath, every movement became a calculated part of survival. He wasn't just fighting machines. He was playing a deadly game of chess where one wrong move meant instant death. He observed the remaining 2 Tigers. Crews were experienced, trained to dominate. Their eyes scanned the battlefield with confidence, their turrets swinging mechanically, searching for the threat they couldn't see. Confidence, pride, overconfidence. That was his ally. The battlefield, riddled with craters and debris from earlier bombardments, was no longer just a scene of destruction. It was a weapon in his hands. He used smoke from ruined vehicles, broken walls, and shell holes as cover. Each move was deliberate, calculated to confuse the enemy and make them overextend. He crawled through mud, avoiding open ground, using shadows to remain invisible. The Tigers, designed to dominate open fields, were suddenly slowed, constrained, and blind to the man who was now orchestrating their demise. The second Tiger attempted a flank, aiming to crush him with sheer firepower, but he anticipated it. He waited motionless until the tank exposed its side, a weakness even a rook could exploit. With precise timing, he fired. The blast tore through the armor, hurling fragments across the battlefield. Fire erupted, smoke billowed, and chaos consumed the German crew. One by one, the soldiers realized they were no longer hunters. They were prey. He didn't pause. Every second mattered. Movement, patience, observation. This was a battlefield dance, and he led. Now only 1 Tiger remained. Its crew had learned. They were cautious, deliberate, methodical. They scanned, advanced, and fired with deadly precision. The rookie watched, waited, calculated. He studied every twitch of the tank's treads, every hesitation, every exposed panel. He wasn't fighting just a machine. He was fighting experience, fear, and instinct combined. Then, using a narrow approach forced by terrain, he struck. The tank shuddered violently as the shell hit its weakest point. Flames consumed steel. Smoke choked the battlefield. In that instant, the impossible was done. When the smoke cleared, silence fell. 3 Tiger tanks, legendary weapons of war, had been destroyed in 12 minutes by a single, inexperienced soldier. His uniform was torn, his hands scorched, his body trembling. Yet he stood, alone, unbroken. The battlefield bore witness to a truth few could comprehend. Skill, courage, and intelligence could defy even overwhelming force. And in the eyes of every soldier who arrived later, he was no longer a rookie. He was a legend. This story is more than a tale of destruction. It is a lesson in courage under pressure, in thinking differently when every expectation says, you will fail. Fear is not weakness. Fear is focus. Inexperience is not doom. Inexperience is perspective. And sometimes, one person armed with knowledge, determination, and timing can change the course of battle entirely. Because history doesn't always favor the powerful. It favors the unpredictable. The battlefield was a scene of surreal quiet. Smoke curled like ghostly fingers above the twisted metal of the 3 Tigers. Craters scarred the earth, and the echoes of cannon fire still rattled through the air. For the first time that day, the enemy line was silent, not out of strategy but out of shock. Allied soldiers began to emerge from their positions, cautious but curious. They had heard the distant rumble of combat, but no one expected the sight before them. 3 of the most feared tanks in the world, completely destroyed, and standing near the wreckage was a single young soldier. Dirt and blood stained his uniform. His rifle hung loosely in one hand, his face pale but steady, eyes still scanning the horizon. Whispers spread immediately. At first disbelief. It can't be him. Just a rookie. Then awe. Then the truth sank in. This young man had faced what most veterans would never dare touch, and won. Within hours, his story traveled. Soldiers from neighboring units recounted how a single soldier had taken down not one, but 3 Tiger tanks in 12 minutes. Officers recorded it in dispatches. Journalists embedded on the front lines described him as a phenomenon of courage and skill. What made the tale even more astonishing was the rookie himself. He did not boast. He did not seek recognition. He had acted purely out of necessity, out of survival instinct sharpened by training and intuition. His actions were not reckless, they were calculated, precise, and terrifyingly effective. Veterans began to study his tactics. How did he anticipate the flanks? How did he use terrain so perfectly? Against machines designed to dominate any battlefield? Each analysis added to his mystique. What had started as a singular act of survival was becoming a tactical legend. What allowed a rookie to defy the odds that day? Experts later speculated. Fear is fuel. Instead of paralyzing him, fear sharpened his senses. Every movement was deliberate, every breath measured. Calculated patience, he did not attack blindly. Every shot, every relocation, every pause was timed to perfection. Exploiting enemy psychology. The Tigers were powerful but not infallible. The rookie recognized hesitation, overconfidence, and distraction and used it ruthlessly. The advantage of invisibility. The enemy underestimated him, thinking him inexperienced. That mistake would cost them dearly. This combination of instincts, strategy, and courage turned a man no one expected to survive into an unstoppable force for 12 minutes that changed the course of that skirmish entirely. From that day forward, his name was whispered along the front lines. Soldiers would recount the story to new recruits as proof that individual action, when executed with skill and courage, could overcome overwhelming odds. The rookie would continue to fight. He would face more battles, more chaos, more death, but nothing would match the legend of the 12 minutes when 3 Tigers met the one man who refused to die. History does not always remember the machines or the generals. Sometimes, it remembers the moments when one human mind and heart redefined the possible. The battlefield was quiet now. Smoke hung in the air like a ghostly shroud over the twisted steel of 3 Tiger tanks. Birds dared not sing. Soldiers, both allied and enemy, could only stare at what had happened. History had witnessed something that defied belief. A single rookie, alone, had taken down machines built to crush entire armies. For the young soldier, it was over. But he did not feel triumphant. Victory in war is never clean. The roar of engines, the screams, the explosions, they lingered in his mind. Yet amid the chaos, he understood something profound. He had faced fear, and fear had bowed to him. His story spread far beyond the battlefield. Military historians would analyze it for decades. Commanders would teach it to new recruits as a lesson in courage, tactical ingenuity, and perseverance under extreme pressure. It was more than heroism. It was a blueprint for defying the odds. It proved that the greatest power does not always belong to the machine, the general, or the empire, but sometimes to the human spirit itself. For 12 minutes, a rookie had become a legend. 12 minutes had rewritten the rules of the battlefield. 12 minutes had shown that fear can sharpen the mind, that inexperience can be a hidden advantage, and that courage is not the absence of fear. It is action despite it. In the years that followed, the soldier would continue to fight, continue to serve, but the world would always remember that moment. The moment when 3 Tiger tanks met a human mind that refused to yield. Generals and historians would debate the tactical brilliance, but soldiers would remember the feeling, the awe of seeing the impossible happen before their eyes. And in that legend lies a truth far greater than warfare itself. One determined individual can change the course of history, no matter the odds. This story is not just about war. It is about courage under pressure, about thinking differently when the odds say you will fail, and about the power of determination. It reminds us that even in the darkest moments, when the forces around us seem unbeatable, one person who refuses to give up can redefine the impossible. Because history remembers those who act, not those who hesitate, and sometimes it remembers them forever.